Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a 6-week update on the Finalmouse UltralightX after receiving it on what I believe was November 16th. And yeah, it's currently January 2nd, and we're going to see how is the mouse doing. Has it broken? Is it a UL Flex? Is everything wrong with it? Does the mouse not charge anymore? You will find out shortly. But yeah, to put it simply, if I had to just give it a verdict, I would say yes, my copy is holding up. There are no glaring, massive issues worthy of note, but I'm just going to go through the quality aspects, some of just the quality of life things, and my experience with the mouse. First and foremost, build quality. This is a Lot 1 unit. Finalmouse did send me a few Lot 2 units to give away, so I actually do have those on hand to compare the mouse, quality-wise. So yeah, the side flexing on the unit that I've put a lot of time on is truly negligible. I mean, I believe that if you look at the bottom gap down here, you can just see a tiny bit of movement. But truly, no matter where I grip it, how I grip it, I'm not feeling any kind of side flex. There are the structural weak points on the shell, but again, I'm not really interacting with those, but I'll show the updated batch as well. I don't know whose review I saw, but their thing was flexing in so much from here. I have no idea how that happened. But yeah, there are going to be a few points on the shell that are weaker than others. But yeah, this is an updated Lot 2 batch. I'm pretty much squeezing as hard as I can, and the sides are absolutely solid. Once again, there are still going to be those slightly weaker points, but that's not really where you're gripping the mouse. No matter how hard I aggressively claw grip, apply pressure with my palm, I can't really feel any flexing down here. So it seems like they have addressed the side flexing issue, which was the major fuck up of the ULX, and my main unit that I've been putting time on still does not have any type of flexing. But moving past the side flexing into other aspects of build quality, the one aspect where I feel like this mouse did deteriorate, at least what I noticed, was my right mouse button with post travel. The left click, I can't really feel it, but whenever I right click, just pressing it, there's no problem. But you can see the click activates, and then there's still a lot more room for post travel. And for some reason, if I just click the switch down like this, I can just feel a slight grind, I'm grinding half a gear after I press the switch. And it's not really game breaking. It would probably be a lot more annoying if this was on my left click, but comparing it to the newer Lot 2 unit, which I'm going to give away, this does not seem to be present. I can't tell if that's just because I have not used the mouse enough to cause that general wear and tear, or if this unit is just an exception. But yeah, I can say that's really my one nitpick or grievance with this mouse, is just that kind of creaky, grindy feeling after I press right mouse button. And overall, with this newer lot, right, because it's not a truly newer batch, it's just later units of the first batch, the clicks just feel a bit more softer and spongy, a bit more spammable even, compared to the OG batch, which people were already complaining were too light. Mine actually did have a decent bit of tactile response, and I would say it's just a little bit more muted and more spammable on the newer unit. Now a general wear thing, there is the bottom battery thing, which honestly I am a big reason there is going to be a replacement for this, because I was just final boy. You just can't have this. It just looks nasty. And I did, of course, put my mouse on the carpet just to see how nasty it could get. But yeah, there's really nothing you can do about it. Even using a glass pad, the little hair and dust has not caused any issue in terms of my mouse scraping on a pad. It's perfectly fine performance wise, but it was just a really aesthetic oversight, I guess would be the way to put it. But yeah, on the completely newer sizes and later batches, there is going to be a foam piece instead of the little adhesive. You can see I really haven't put any time on this new unit because it still has the fresh adhesive. And I'll just talk about a few things that I noticed after using the mouse for an extended period of time. One thing is the coating, and I just really didn't know how to feel about this because it is definitely on the sides more slippery than you would expect a mouse to feel. On the main clicks, it kind of feels like the original Starlights, where it is a somewhat grippy but wet and rubberized feeling, but I've just come to enjoy the coating. There's really no situation where I don't feel like I have a solid grip of the mouse that I can maintain. I don't know if it just comes down to the shape, the holes on the side, whatever it is, just the fact I'm used to this mouse, but I find it very comfortable. I have the updated batch of the WL mouse, which I was thinking about including in this video, but I might just give it its own video, and this does have a completely rubberized texture, and it is objectively more grippy than the Starlight or the ULX. I know it's kind of off topic, but the WL mouse does feel kind of uneven. It feels like there are bumps where it's just more textured and grippy compared to other parts of the mouse, but it just is like it almost feels like wet paint. It's just a very rubberized feeling, but I just don't hate the ULX. Maybe it's because I've used the mouse so much, because it is, I guess, a more slippery coating than average. So yeah, coating wise, I really don't have any complaints about the ULX. The scroll wheel was another thing where it was very slippery out of the box, but I just feel like after using it more, I just get used to things. And maybe that's not a very useful video. Be like, I used this mouse more and I got used to it, but it just is what it is. I still feel like I am pretty much playing at the best I can with it. I don't think any mouse is going to turn you into a better player. I do think a mouse can turn you into a worse player. Another thing to note is just that I feel like the battery life on this is on par with like the GPX2, where they're just better than everything else. Not a lot of companies really seem to care about optimizing battery life. I don't know all of the little tricks that companies use for it, but it seems like Finalmouse is really good when it comes to it, because I use this mouse on 4K hertz and I've only had to charge it, I believe, 3 times since getting the mouse, maybe 4 times. Jesus, that was a risque throw. But yeah, the battery life on this mouse is very good. Not that it's going to matter a ton whether the mouse lasts for a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, but I just feel like that's something worth noting after putting some extended time on the mouse. Another thing are the skates. People always ask me, like, what skates do I use? Have I switched them? I'm just using the stock skates. I really don't think there's much of a reason to switch them. They perform very well on every pad. I've actually been using this mouse on the glazed glass pad from the Whale, because these skates are just like on the more controlled end. It's obviously not going to be a slow glide, but I'm able to use them on glass pads, pads like the Hien, pads like the Zero, just all around. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But if I did have to swap these, I would probably go for like Tiger Ice 2's BTL skates. Fucking, there's so many skates that are all the same thing. I'm just going to keep using the stock ones for a while. The sensor, I've run into absolutely no issues, hitches, inconsistencies whatsoever, compared to the WL mouse, which I have had a few, but it's not like I would not pick one of these mice over the other because of these minor sensor differences. It could, of course, be my PC, but sometimes I just run into some fucking funky things with the WL mouse. For example, on 4K hertz with this updated unit, sometimes it just fucking tabs me out of Fortnite. I don't know how that could happen, but it's never happened with another mouse. I lower the polling rate and it goes away. I had the spin out issues. I had a few wireless interference issues, but generally when this is the only mouse plugged into my computer, I don't run into anything. So I don't know what that could come down to, but yeah, that's kind of WL mouse related. The ULX wireless tech has been absolutely flawless for me. There's just no tech issues I've really ran into. I will throw my settings for the mouse up. I actually do use motion sync on. I was testing between on and off, but I just feel like on. My input's noticeably smoother. I overflick less, so why not use it? The weight of this mouse coming in at 38 grams, being absolutely perfectly balanced, it still is a joy to use. Like, whenever I use a heavier mouse and come to the ULX, it's like, wow, that is a massive difference. When I'm using the WL mouse and the ULX, I'm not really saying like, wow, this clears the other in terms of weight, but if I do just have to gravitate towards one, it is the ULX. But yeah, that's really not to say that the WL mouse isn't pretty much equally as impressive. It's a lot more available of a mouse, obviously, but yeah, the ULX, it has stood the test of 1 month for me so far. Obviously, like with a premium mouse, you do expect it to last for like years of use, so that post-travel developing and kind of being like grindy and creaky after just over a month of not even like exclusive use, that's obviously not... It's not the ideal quality, but I think that's just due to like the carbon piece that this is made of. But yeah, it is only the right click. I will keep pretty much maining this mouse, monitoring it as much as I can. But yeah, the left click, just the click feeling in general is still fine. And that post-travel, I guess you could say it's a nitpick, but every time I press the mouse down, I can feel creaking. So that is definitely worthy of note. But yeah, I would say my unit, I am still happy with it. The mouse is definitely not a flawless product, but it is the lightest wireless mouse, full-size wireless mouse that I've used, and still just one of my favorites regardless of the game I'm playing. It's not the only mouse I can use. I'm not going to say it's like 20 times better than a GPX. If you're in the market for a mouse, I'm not saying you should save up your $190, wait for the next drop, but my 6-week update, I am still enjoying the ULX quite a bit. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Lots more mouse content coming soon.